You know, it was only a matter of time before Kolchak dealt with aliens, but I didn't expect it to happen just 3 episodes into the show's run. They have been, they are, they will be, originally aired September 27th, 1974. And what's kinda surprising is they didn't just call the episode The Alien. I mean, we just had the Ripper and the Zombie. Hell, the very next episode is called The Vampire. But I guess if you call your episode The Alien, it kinda ruins the mystery right from the get-go. What kind of alien is Kolchak facing though? Could it be the friendly ET kind? Or the violent I wanna eat your face kind? As with any good story about aliens, the best way to start it is with a cameraman harassing a cheetah. I'd probably go with an alien craft landing, or someone being attacked out in the woods, but different strokes I guess. Kolchak is excited because the Chicago Cubs are playing in the World Series, and he's got a ticket. Well, Updike does, but he's supposed to give it to Kolchak after Kolchak saved him from some giant Amazon woman.
207 pounds of furious, frightening femininity. All muscle, no fat.
The most unbelievable thing in this episode isn't the aliens, it's the Cubs actually making it to the World Series. Vincenzo comes in with a story about the now missing cheetah, and surprisingly, Kolchak seems interested. I would have figured that he'd rather be at the game, but apparently the cheetah is the second animal to go missing in the past couple days, and I guess that's enough to derail Kolchak from the World Series. For now anyways.
Officer down. Radon Electronics, Commerce and 24th Street.
Speaking of derailing, there's something going down at Radine Electronics, so the zoo and the game will have to wait. Wait a minute, who taught this cop how to handle a shotgun?
What's that?
I really hope they paid these stuntmen well. I'm not exactly sure what that was all about, but normally 2 tons of lead doesn't just disappear into thin air. Why does this feel like something Lex Luthor would do to fight Superman?
You know what's good for you? You'll disappear too, Kolchak. Show him how, Crowley. Come on.
Now wait
Get him out of here.
Geez, Captain, could you be any drunker? Also, is that Uncle Leo?
Where's your nurse? She left.
Who are these strange men in suits? I'm sure they'll have nothing to do with some bizarre cover-up story. Kolchak makes his way to the zoo and finds something. He brings it to the zoo's vet, I think, and not only is it sticky, but it also seems to contain acetone. Also, many of the zoo's animals seem to be having random heart attacks. But the worst part is how casual the vet is. She's like, yeah, all the animals have been dying from heart attacks, but do you know where I can get a good steak?
I don't know where we're going to get another panda. They come from Tibet. The commies have them all.
Commies.
Most people think the panda's a bear. Actually, it's a raccoon.
Raccoon.
Actually, lady, that debate has long been settled, and panda bears are 100% bear. Maybe next time use more recent findings in your 1974 science? Kolchak then heads to a random homeowner who is complaining about asphalt being dumped on his lawn. The man goes on about the city coming in, cleaning up the mess with shovels and flamethrowers, which is an odd tool for asphalt removal, and then trying to gaslight the man into believing it never happened. My favorite part though is how Kolchak keeps having the man pose so we can get a good photo.
With stars when they yanked the earphones off his skull.
Yeah, what time was that?
Last night. I have to go.
I don't know what happened there, but I did not make that cut. It just abruptly cuts to the guy leaving, and it's kind of jarring.
What time was that?
Last night. I have to go.
Kolchak discovers more of that black gunk, though it looks kinda like obsidian. We then randomly focus on a purse snatcher, who I'm sure is definitely not about to be killed off. Oh no, it's the same cameraman that got the cheetah! Kolchak brings the black stuff to the vet lady, and it not only contains acetone, but also stomach acid and bone marrow. Something is sucking the bone marrow out of the zoo's animals and then vomiting up some disgusting black goo. Maybe it has something to do with this boom mic.
2 tons of lead. What could use 2 tons of lead?
God's pencil?
What are you doing?
Why the hell would they put Monique in charge of developing the photos? Kolchak then visits with Gordy the Ghoul, looking for info on the guard killed at the electronics store. But it seems there's something of a cover-up going on. Gordy's boss gives Kolchak the autopsy report, but Gordy's like, nah, I've got the real report right here.
I'm sorry, Kolchak. I can't permit you to go in the drawer. That's against the rules here.
I like how Kolchak doesn't even leave the building before listening to the tape. It turns out the killed guard was also missing his bone marrow. So it looks like whatever this thing is, it doesn't discriminate. This cameraman really has it out for everyone. Kolchak arrives casually late to the press briefing about these strange occurrences.
Missile guidance systems. We're talking about national security, ladies and gentlemen.
Not only has the captain's watch stopped, but he's still very drunk, I see. The whole press briefing basically boils down to the police captain discrediting Kolchak and making up some nonsense about national security as a means to not actually say anything. The police and government trying to cover up something horrific? Well, I'm definitely glad this is just a show. Meanwhile, Vincenzo is being catered to by the Times for some reason, but to me it looks like he's eating a plate full of canned tuna. Kolchak tells Vincenzo about the cover-up, but the bone marrow talk seems to be affecting his appetite.
Guess where this strange, unusual combination of elements occurs? Nowhere in this world.
Kolchak runs off to get proof that this weird goo stuff doesn't come from this planet, but in the meantime, Vincenzo is given a plate of brains. I don't know what it is with rich people, but why do they think that's the high point of fine dining? Just give me a pizza and leave me the hell alone.
Hey, you aren't aliens!
Sure we are.
What is this thing?
The Cheeseinator will transform you into a stuffed crust pizza.
Is this necessary?
Hey, it's those strange men again. You know your workplace is cheap when the filing cabinets are in the bathroom. Seems those same men got to Monique too, because Kolchak's tape recording has gone missing.
I don't need another UFO story. I've got enough problems.
Wait a second, UFO story? Kolchak didn't say anything about UFOs.
I didn't say UFO. You said UFO.
See, I told you. Instead of letting go of the story like Vincenzo said, Kolchak decides to get some professional help. From a group of people who feel like they need professional help.
But when I let him know that I was firm, determined, he kept his extensions to himself.
I'm not sure I want to know what extensions she's talking about exactly. Basically, what we have here is a group of people who claim to have seen a UFO, or in some cases been propositioned by an alien. This lady here rambling on about getting drinks and nearly getting busy with E.T. feels a lot like the lady who claimed an alien told her the world would end in Ghostbusters 2.
Their leader, a very smart-looking alien, got a little fresh with me.
I think he must have used some kind of a ray or a mind control device because he forced me to follow him to his room.
Kolchak gets the location of a recent UFO sighting from character actor Phil Leeds, which leads him to the body of one of the most recent victims.
I will now address you in Mathematico, the universal language.
So if I ever meet some spacemen, I just yell at them? Meanwhile, at the nearby planetarium, it seems like all the guards are just randomly dying. Look, Mr. Alien, now is not the time for Laser Floyd. Kolchak uses his compass to track it, which because of electromagnetic disturbances leads him to the planetarium. Kolchak makes his way inside the building, but somehow doesn't notice the body on the ground right in front of him. I mean, sure, he's looking up, but does his peripheral vision not work? Well, at least he didn't miss this one. Is that shadow supposed to be the alien? How does something invisible cast a shadow? The cameraman tried to get Kolchak, but quickly realized he's the main character. What's funny is the police arrive and the alien is still playing around with the planetarium. You'd think maybe he would have left after Kolchak's camera scared it off, but it's not leaving until it finishes Dark Side of the Moon, damn it.
He was looking at maps. Maps. Star maps. Look up there, you see galaxies.
You'd think an advanced alien would have a map system aboard its spaceship. I mean, how does it know where it's flying to? The police captain speaks with the mysterious men in suits, who really aren't that mysterious considering they just operate out in the open. I like how inside the planetarium, the alien lightly throws the officers, but when Kolchak heads outside, cars are flipped and on fire. Could we not have seen that instead?
It was the battery recharger, the nickel cadmium batteries in there. He emit a high-pitched whine. Listen.
Kolchak quickly realizes that it wasn't the light on his camera that stopped the alien, but the sound it emits. However, the drunk captain is like, you know what, Kolchak? We're gonna get run out of this town one day. Imagine how many more murders there would have been if not for Kolchak butting his nose into everything. Kolchak drives off but notices his dash compass is acting very strange, almost as if there's an alien nearby. And eureka! Well, if it isn't some kind of flying saucer. Actually, it looks like a giant Jiffy Pop. The alien gets real tired of Kolchak's nonsense, so he's like, see ya later, alligator. I guess the Kolchak team couldn't afford a UFO flying off. They have been, they are, they will be is definitely one of the cheaper episodes we've looked at so far. I mean, they don't even really have an alien. But honestly, had they tried to show one, it probably would have looked like something straight out of a 1950s B-movie. So I think making the alien invisible was actually the smarter call. Given the circumstances, I think they did the best they could. Instead of a rubber suit, they lean on sound cues, wind machines, and people reacting to something we can't see. And weirdly, that ends up working better than I expected. This episode is often looked down as one of the weaker ones in the series, but as someone who likes aliens, government cover-ups, and a certain television show we'll definitely be getting to, I actually found it to be pretty enjoyable. A lot of that comes down to Darren McGavin. His performance and his interactions with all the side characters is what keeps the episode moving even when the effects budget clearly isn't. I also really like Kolchak's little monologue at the end, where he compares the alien to someone making a pit stop during a long road trip. Honestly, I kind of buy that. If you're traveling across the galaxy, you're probably gonna need to stop for food at some point. I mean, the thing even stops to check a map before leaving, which Kolchak explains with the planetarium. What's interesting though is that for all the goofy stuff going on, this episode is actually pulling from some pretty old school horror ideas. The title They Have Been, They Are, They Will Be comes straight out of H.P. Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror.
The old ones were, the old ones are, and the old ones shall be, undimensioned and to us unseen.
And once you know that, the invisible alien makes a lot more sense. The creature isn't unseen just because of budget limitations. It fits this idea of something existing between spaces, quietly passing through, barely interacting with us at all. Now, do I think the writer sat around saying, what if this is an elder god stopping for a snack? Probably not, but it's still a neat connection whether intentional or not. One thing I really like is that the creature isn't actually defeated. In fact, I think this might be the only episode in the series where the monster just gets away. And considering it was planning to leave anyway, it does make you wonder, did Kolchak actually change anything? Or would have all of this played out exactly the same whether he got involved or not? When we finally do see the alien spacecraft, I honestly assumed it was some reused prop from another show or movie. That was a pretty common thing they did back then. Turns out it wasn't from anything. It was actually an escape pod from an oil rig just painted silver. And that same escape pod would eventually wind up decades later at the Abita Mystery House in Louisiana, which looks like one of those tourist traps full of random junk. Though judging by its condition, I'm just glad they didn't completely destroy it. But if a story about invisible aliens, black viscous goo, and government cover-ups sounds kind of familiar, it's no secret that Kolchak was a huge influence on the X-Files, and this episode is absolutely packed with ideas that show up later in one form or another. For starters, you've got animals at the zoo being attacked by something alien, which immediately makes me think of the Season 2 episode Fearful Symmetry, where animals are being taken and experimented on by aliens. The motives are different, sure, but the setup feels very similar. Then you've got the invisible alien itself. In the X-Files Season 1 episode Fallen Angel, you also get an invisible alien being hunted by the military, complete with that Predator-style cloaking effect. We never actually see the creature in Kolchak, but the idea's already there. And how about that black substance Kolchak keeps finding at every scene? In the X-Files, you've got the black oil. Now, they're not exactly the same thing. I mean, the goo in Kolchak is basically alien digestive waste, while the black oil is the literal lifeblood of the colonists. But the fact that there's a mysterious black viscous substance at all feels like more than coincidence. I wouldn't be shocked if even a little bit of that idea carried over. And finally, you've got the secretive government group going around threatening people into silence. Sure, the Men in Black weren't exactly a new idea even back then, but it's hard not to think of the Syndicate when you see it here. So while this might not be the flashiest episode, and while it's often criticized for not showing the alien, I still think it's a pretty entertaining watch, and an important stepping stone for a lot of sci-fi that came later. But what do you think? If you've seen the episode, let me know down in the comments. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you're ready for Christmas and stay spooky! Huge thanks to all my channel members, you're the real MVPs of the Spooky Squad. Your support helps keep the lights flickering and the monsters fed. If you'd like to join up and help support the channel, check out the join button below. But no pressure, just watching and liking helps a ton too.
Last night, I have to go.